We live on a planet covered in water, yet we have explored barely 5% of our own oceans. Beneath the familiar surface lies a pitch-black abyss operating under its own extreme rules. Our intuition about the timeline of the physical world is often backwards. For example, sharks have been swimming in these waters for over 400 million years. They inhabited the oceans for 50 million years before the first trees ever appeared on land. Even invisible forces have a hidden physical form. When sound waves vibrate through a layer of sand, they organize the grains into intricate, symmetrical geometric patterns that reveal the underlying structure of the frequency. This hidden consistency extends to our resources. Because water molecules have circulated the Earth for billions of years, the water in your glass has almost certainly passed through the body of a dinosaur. We accept that the physical world is governed by these massive, invisible systems. Yet we remain blind to the internal mechanisms that secretly dictate human success and cognitive performance. Most of us spend our waking hours exhausting ourselves with sheer effort. We hustle, we stress, and we push our conscious focus to the limit. And yet, for the vast majority, the tangible results rarely match the level of the exhaustion. History's greatest thinkers didn't rely on brute force effort to solve their hardest problems. Instead, they mastered a complete 24-hour mental operating system. High-level intelligence requires two distinct mechanisms to lock together: the defensive, strategic discipline of your day and the receptive, programmable power of your night. The first half of this system is the day shift. In the ancient philosophy of Chanakya, intelligent behavior during your waking hours is fundamentally defensive. This begins with strategic silence. Listening more than you speak allows you to gather intelligence on your environment while keeping your own vulnerabilities entirely hidden. The second rule is the concealment of intentions. Exposing your plans before they are finished invites outside interference and wastes the cognitive energy required to actually complete the task. And the final rule is emotional control. Engaging in useless arguments or reacting out of anger is a failure of logic that introduces instability into your decision-making. This waking discipline functions as a cognitive firewall. It filters out the noise of the day, protecting the subconscious from absorbing the negative data that would otherwise corrupt its processing during sleep. Most people ruin this firewall immediately before bed by consuming digital filler, forcing their minds to process low-value information just as they enter the most critical phase of the cycle. Ancient Vedic science referred to this as sleep programming, the specific moment when the brain's barrier between rigid logic and the subconscious begins to dissolve. As you drift off, the jagged, high-frequency spikes of the waking beta state flatten out, and the mind descends into the deeply receptive alpha and theta states. In this state, the Zeigarnik effect takes hold. The brain becomes obsessed with closing an open loop, scanning its entire internal database to resolve an incomplete task. Thomas Edison used this neurological quirk to solve engineering problems that his waking mind couldn't crack. He would fall asleep in a chair holding a steel ball. The moment his subconscious arrived at a solution, his muscles would relax, the ball would drop, and the sound would wake him up so that he could immediately record the insight. Sleep functions as an active workshop, using the body's biological downtime to scan millions of data points for the solutions your waking mind is too loud to hear. When you combine these two engines, you arrive at bedtime with a clear mind, free of daily noise and ready for intentional programming. In the final 2 minutes before sleep, plant a single, highly specific question into your mind regarding your biggest current obstacle. You must not attempt to answer it logically. Simply hold the question and surrender it to the subconscious, letting the internal data scanning process take over. This single prompt triggers a background scan of your internal archives, connecting distant memories and patterns while your logic is offline. By mastering the defensive discipline of your day and the offensive programming of your night, you stop fighting the internal architecture of your brain and finally let its hidden systems work for you.